Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition. This is going to be a Thursday afternoon edition of Pagan Artist Spotlight on the new National Pagan Podcast Network and IAPN Radio. Appreciate everyone tuning in on a regular basis this afternoon. I am joined by my new co-host, Coach, and then also our very special guest, Rebecca Faith. And basically, I believe now you two are out in the same area. And so basically, now Rebecca, she just completed her training uh, in the field of trauma healing. With doing, oh, she's got, she's going to be doing a lot of work in the field of addiction and abuse recovery coaching. So I want to thank you for taking time out to join us. And she and I are also going to be working together at the new school that we're planning here for out on the West Coast. So I'm really excited about that as well. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm also really excited to get to work with you in Olympus and just walk this super cool journey that we're on.
Yep, I would agree. So now, uh, give us a little bit of background here. What got you started on your spiritual path, and what's led you up to where you're at?
Well, to be honest, it's hard to pick. It's sometimes hard for me to pick a particular point in time. Uh, as far as when I got started on my spiritual path. As a child, I was always interested in spiritual matters of all kinds. I grew up in rural Alaska, so I was surrounded by just this really incredible, intense beauty. It was like living in a postcard, you know? And so even though I didn't really discover like my path and where I really wanted to go with it until I was a teenager, it felt pretty inevitable for the earth and for nature to become a central part of my spiritual journey. And I definitely would say that I've been an animist since I was a child. And when I discovered paganism at 13 years old, it was like a revelation. I was like, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. I had been kind of experimenting with different spiritual paths that I knew of up until that point. Much to my parents' chagrin, you know, they raised me and my siblings more science based, which I am just so eternally grateful for, because it gave me a good skeptical mind, as well as a fascination with just the wonders that the universe holds, just naturally.
Mhm.
And so at 13 years old, I discovered paganism, and from there it just continued growing and blossoming, and I felt really inspired by just the nature of existence itself. So not just
Mhm.
the earth, not just forests and beaches and rivers and etc., not just those things, but also human psychology, physics, just everything that makes life, and the way we perceive our experiences of life, are all connected to me, and represent these really beautiful, ever increasing like patterns that nature tends to hold. So I think that's really what has inspired me about my spiritual path, and what causes me to continue on it is
Mhm.
just that sense of wonder. Um, it's a little silly, but there's this. I used to watch a lot of House, you know, that show House,
Yep.
years
Yep.
years and years and years ago when I was a teenager. I loved House, and there was an episode with that it actually featured a magician, but in that episode there was this incredible line that one of the characters said, and they said, if the wonder is gone once the truth is known, there is never any wonder to begin with. And that
Mhm.
feels like sort of a central inspiration on my path of everything has has magic in it. Everything has magic in it. Science and the sacred are one and the same, and that's kind of what drives me. Absolutely.
Excellent. Now, something else that people may not really know about that I picked up on is that where she comes from is called Homer, Alaska. And basically, how I know about this is that's also the home of the Kilcher family,
Yep.
who have their show on uh, Discovery Channel. And I have been watching them for a long time. So when I seen Homer, Alaska pop up, I said, okay, I know people from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Otts Kilcher was my music teacher when I was in elementary school. Still says hello, when we run into each other at Safeway and Homer. Very interesting family, very interesting family. I know a lot of people know about them from Discovery Channel, but that family actually has quite a long history in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, those Discovery Channel shows crack me up because they have so much drama about getting ready for the winter, and I'm like, you guys live 15-minute drive from Safeway. Calm down.
When I hear Homer, I think of The Simpsons that were based off of Springfield here.
Yeah.
So, finding the different associations with the name.
Yeah, it really. I know that I didn't. Yeah, now that you guys say that, it's like his the other side of the family is. I mean, he's got all these junk cars and everything else sitting there. It's like, okay, how the hell did you get all that up there? But now that I know he's only a short distance from town, I'm like, okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the closest car dealership is a 2.5-hour drive away. But no, Homer was a really cool place to grow up in. Actually, it's a very much like a hyper local town. There's only like 3 like corporations. I guess maybe 4 corporations in Homer. There's Safeway, Wells Fargo, McDonald's, and Subway. And everything else is local. Everything else is mom and pop shops, mom and pop restaurants, art galleries, cute little gift shops.
It's not even a Starbucks or anything like that.
The Starbucks is in the Safeway. It's part of Safeway.
Okay. I was like, Starbucks is everywhere.
But honestly, to be honest, the only people that I've seen use that Starbucks are people who are teenagers and people from out of town. Everyone else goes to the local coffee shops because the local coffee shops are so good. I mean, when I think about Two Sisters Bakery and Cafe, like my mouth waters. I still miss it. So yeah, it was a really cool place to grow up. It was a really, really cool place to grow up. Just that it's got kind of like a hippie vibe to it. And really interesting people always come through Homer because of the dock we have in the bay, and it was really amazing. And I definitely think that growing up in that kind of more hippie leaning town, living in basically a postcard, definitely it informed a lot of what I ended up going on to be interested in my life.
Interesting. So now, what made you get your certifications in for trauma healing now?
Honestly, a desire to heal myself was my initial motivation. I've always been fascinated by human psychology, as I mentioned. I've always been fascinated by human psychology. I even took some psychology classes when I was in high school. And then I'm actually currently getting my degree in psychology as well. So I've always been interested in it, but I ended up signing up for that certification program. It was an 18-month program. And I signed up for it out of a desire to heal myself because I had been my start to my 20s had been very chaotic, and I wouldn't have characterized it this way at the time, but I would characterize it now as it was traumatic, some of what I experienced, and for me personally. And so when I finally got to a part of my life when I had enough stability to start thinking about healing my own psyche, about paying attention to my own mental health in a very grounded way, because up until then it had all been a very intellectual and not a lot of action behind it. So I signed up for the certification program out of a desire to really, honest to God, or gods, heal from my own trauma, not just for my sake, but for the sake of my daughter as well, so I could be the best mother that I could to her. And beyond that, also just being that personal growth is such a big part of my own spiritual journey. And I had reached a point in my spiritual journey where I felt stagnant, and I realized that it was because there was so much unhealed in me. So I initially signed up for the program because of that, because it's a really unique program in the way that they require you to do all of the things that you will eventually do with your clients. So I had to walk all of those steps in order to get my certification. And 2 years later, my life is, I began the program spring of 2020, honestly, just before the pandemic hit. And I took my time. It was an 18-month program, but I took a little bit more of that, most of the 2 years.
Right.
And 2 years later, just my life is better than it ever has been before. And I just feel so inspired to help people transform as well, because I've realized where 2.5, 3 years ago, I thought that I was never going to find true love. I was never going to be financially or emotionally stable. I was just going to be living in a state of chaos my entire life. I had so little hope for myself in my life back then. And now, not only do I have hope, but I have belief. And
and you had an absolutely beautiful wedding too. You found that person for you.
Yes, I did.
I still want the caterer's information.
Yeah. I did just get married this past March. Yeah. Right after the spring equinox. And so yeah. And anyway, long story short, I got started for my own healing, and now I'm just so excited to get to be part of other people's journey in that as well.
Excellent.
The healing aspect, that you're such a healer and you're so connected to the earth, it really makes you a perfect fit for the keeper of the house of the bear, because it's all that earth house. It's all for healing and nurturing, and you're like the perfect fit for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. And as mentioned, Rebecca and I are going to be, we're going to be working together here eventually, because I am going to be representing the House of the Wolf for Olympus, which I'm very proud of.
She currently teaches the Witchcraft 101 course as well at Olympus, online, go at your own pace.
With me, I'm going to be teaching Pagan Prep 101 as well.
Are you going, is that going to be more of a focus on polytheism and such?
Yeah, it'd be a little bit of polytheism. Also, educating people who are attending festival, and basically people who are going, maybe even possibly people going there for the first time, and to help educate people as to what they need to know when they're attending festivals, and also keeping themselves prepared, their families, and people around them for emergency situations. So, because as a first responder, that's kind of big with me, is keeping people informed, educating them, and that's what Pagan Prep 101 is going to be all about.
That's awesome. I love it. You're basically preparing them to be members of the community.
Right.
That's phenomenal. I love that because I feel like so many beginners get into paganism or witchcraft or what have you, and because they're being like really connected communities is actually like a relatively new phenomenon for paganism. As far as the modern day goes, there is so little preparation for these beginners to be able to function adequately in those communities and make really strong connections. So I think that's incredible that you're going to be providing that.
Yeah, because even on my broadcast that I'm doing, as well as the roundtable sessions that I'm a part of with the Pagan Rights Coalition, is that we bring about awareness to a lot of different topics. In fact, we've got one that I came up with that we're gonna be talking about either, I'm hoping this weekend or next weekend, is going to be monotheism versus polytheism. So we're going to have that discussion coming up.
That's exciting. I would love to hear that discussion because that is a topic that I find really fascinating.
Yeah. So the last topic that we got into, we get kind of a laugh out of it. Is we're having a discussion on the differences between mind, body, and spirit, and partway through, the universe realized that we were getting too close to some sensitive areas. And so, needless to say, partway through, video went haywire, sound went haywire, and we pretty much got shut down. It's like the universe was telling us, nope, you're not going there.
The typical tarot card spread that I do is for mind, body, and spirit. So I should body, mind, spirit. Body's always first. But I know the course you're teaching right now is more secular. You do touch on deities.
Yeah, I kind of touch. It's just like it's because there is a portion of the class where I talk about like secular versus spiritual witchcraft, which necessitates a breakdown between like paganism, witchcraft, and Wicca. And so I do kind of sprinkle a little bit like, hey, I'm not going to get into super deep into deity work here, but if you have a mind to explore that, here's just kind of some things to keep in mind as you go down that path. So absolutely, I do touch on that. But I gotta say, every time I hear that phrase, mind, body, spirit, you know what I think of? When I came out as a witch to my mother when I was 13 years old, initially she was concerned, I mean, understandably, and then I explained it to her, and then she was supportive. And one of the first things that she did, besides buying me, some more literary books about it, was sign me up for this subscription, kind of the precursor to today's subscription boxes called Mind, Body, Spirit. And I would get like these pages every month of spiritual information with like little crystals and tools and stuff. And so every time I hear that phrase, that's what I think of. I'm just like, man, I missed that. They're closed down now, though.
Now there's things like Tamed Wild. I love getting those boxes. They have fantastic boxes. And
I just signed up for Goddess Provisions again, and I'm so excited to get my box.
Isn't Goddess Provisions one of the ones that do the full size items? Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of my favorite things I got from them is this like singing bowl. It's got like it's so pretty, and they do full size things. I've gotten like fairy lights from them that are like real crystals around the lights and everything. It's so cool. Not to sound like an advertisement or anything, but I love it.
Hey.
I am not immune to consumerism.
Learning something new about a spiritual business like that, yeah, bring it on. I'm all open. I'm all for it. So, yeah. And with doing the bigger stuff, it kind of reminds me of the advertisements I see online all the time for bespoke folks. Hey. But yeah, I'm glad to know that there are places out there for the spiritual items that, I mean, is it just like a regular subscription for these boxes of items, or?
Oh yeah, I mean a lot of them are like shockingly affordable. Like the Goddess Provisions one I was just talking about, if you just do the month to month, it's $33, but you get like anywhere from you know, like if you look up the prices for the individual items, you're getting like upwards 80, anywhere from like 80 to like $150 worth of items for like $33. Like that's like mind-blowing, and it's all like independent artists. So it's not just like mass produced stuff. It's independent artists and like small business, like herbalists and like stuff like that. So you know that that you're getting stuff from people who really honestly like care about what they're making and what they're distributing to people. It's not made in, you know, some random factory somewhere, you know, by people who don't really care. And that in and of itself feels really good to know that I'm supporting that.
Oh, good.
I think Tamed Wild also supports some smaller artists and stuff. They last time I had them, they were like what, 25 a month or 35? I think it was 25. I don't remember. It's been about a year because life. Yeah. But one day I'll get a subscription again.
Yeah, there's some really cool ones out there now, and I'm not mad about it. You know, I think that it's really beautiful that so many people these days are kind of finding their spiritual callings and finding power in these ancient practices. I think that's it. I think that's beautiful, and I think it speaks to what humanity as a collective needs right now. We all need more magic in our lives.
That's true. And are you currently active in your local community?
You mean local pagan community or just general community?
Yeah, your local pagan community.
I'm starting to, yeah. You know, I had been wanting to get into it, and then the pandemic happened, and many local meetups stopped. But I am starting to get back into it. I'm actually participating in the Eugene Pagan Pride this Sunday. I am calling in air in their main ritual, their harvest blessing ritual, and I'm very excited about it. And so I am participating in that. And, you know, having a child and also cultivating a business can create some scheduling challenges for me. So I'm not always able to make it to the meetups that I really, really want to get to. But I have been making much more of an effort in these recent months to be more part of the local community. And actually, I met Rococo because of that desire to be involved in the pagan community. I was part of a Eugene Witches Facebook group, and she posted about needing professors at Olympus, and I thought, you know what, that sounds like a perfect way to get involved in the local pagan community. I'm going to reach out to her, and here we are. So
Right. Well, when she had mentioned you and wanted to bring you on the show, and I'm glad that we're getting this time to talk with you and get to know you a little bit more. And yeah, like I said, I'm really looking forward to working with you, because eventually, once the school is up and running and we've got it built, and yeah, I'm gonna be making the trip out there, so I can be spending time out with you folks out there.
That's so exciting. I'm so excited to meet you in person and many of the other people in person. It's going to be incredible. You know, it's going to be a journey getting there. It already is. But it's really exciting to get to be part of it. And wherever this journey goes, I'm just glad that I've been able to be involved. So.
Nice.
I can't wait to be able to have all the keepers in one spot in a meeting. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be amazing. Because right now, one is located in Cresswell. You're located in Iowa. Rebecca is located in Eugene. Renea is located in Cottage Grove or Cresswell. Kimmy is also in Eugene. So we just need one more position. One more. the stag.
Yep.
We don't have a keeper for the stag yet.
Right. And sorry, can you remind me what House of the Stag does?
They oversee the creative arts, like theater,
Right.
photography, and that type of stuff. So I'm really hoping to find somebody that either has been in that industry for quite a few years or somebody who went through school for it. Preferably both, a combination of schooling and that. But, experience to me is more valuable than a degree.
Well, considering how many artists are in the pagan community as a whole, nationally and internationally, I would think that there must be at least one out there with the experience and desire to be part of the House of the Stag.
Yeah, they come when the universe is ready to send them in. So
absolutely.
Yep.
I'm sure they're right.
The nice part about what I do is I now have a connection with Llewellyn Publishing. Yeah, because I've got a primary contact now, and he sends me regular shipments of books. He even sent me a brand new tarot deck, my first one that I'm gonna be learning how to use, and then plus he's also arranged for me to interview a bunch of artists and authors, and so basically, yeah, we'll definitely come up with somebody to fill that house.
I can't wait to have a well-rounded team because Olympus really is like, I started it, but somebody asked me yesterday why I say we when I'm talking about it. I'm like, because it's not mine. I'm making it for the community, and one day it's going to be ran it's not going to be run by me. As soon as I can, I'm like, okay, let hands off. You guys get to do the direction that it goes with student and faculty input and all that stuff. So like, it's really going to be something for the community, and I really feel like each one of you is different enough from each other that we have a well-rounded board of education, more or less.
Yep. Now, we're going to take a brief time out for station identification. We've got a lot more information we're going to cover, so don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back right after these words, and then we got more to cover yet. So stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this.
Sister Moon Apothecary and More is a collaboration of local island witches bringing you handcrafted tools for ritual, amazing apothecary, custom vinyl work, merchandise, and so much more. But we are not just an online store. We are a sisterhood, a platform, and a voice for everything that is magical. Join us for our famous Tarot Tuesdays from 11 to 4 Eastern Standard Time for a discounted reading with our amazing in-house intuitive reader and priestess, Wolf Spirit Energy, Beverly Oberlin. You can find us on Facebook at Sister Moon Store or on the web at sistermoon.shop. So fly on over and stop in for a spell.
It's your change, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Are you like a Zoom meeting? Is that what you're doing?
It's actually Iowa.
All right, we are back, and with our special guest Rebecca Faythe, and also with my new co-host Rococo. Now, seeing how Rococo and I have not really had a chance to really get into introducing her, I thought, yeah, we'll just do it today. So you're next on the spotlight. So
yay!
So now Rococo had got in contact with me and she showed interest in wanting to know more about what I've been doing here at Iowa Pagan News and wanting to be a part of it. And so I got to talking with her, explaining the goals and what I've been doing. She decided that she wanted to take on the challenge of being a co-host. So why don't you officially introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do, and we'll just keep on rolling.
All right. I did forget to hold this up the last time, though. I don't know if it's backwards, but this is her card.
Nope.
Thank you. I actually have some new cards coming as well. So that one is actually for my class. I'm actually teaching a certification class with in collaboration with the organization I got my certification from. So that's the card for my certification healing class that I'm doing. I have some cards coming for my private coaching as well, and they'll be. And if it's okay with you, Coco, I'll drop off some new business cards.
Of course.
Fantastic. Yeah, my new my private coaching business is called Lavender Moon Coaching, LLC, lavendermooncoaching.com. To just put a little self insert in there. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I'm Rococo. It's not my birth name. I hate my birth name, so I decided to change it. Hold on, just 1 second.
As you can also tell, that Rococo runs a store in her local area, and so she has customers coming in every once in a while. Plus, she has her little one there with her today as well.
She's gonna come sit on my lap. Yeah, you can hold it. So I believe we kind of talked about me a little bit a couple weeks ago, but I didn't really get into a lot of what I do. I kind of went into that I started kind of hiding, reading books and stuff at 15. I've primarily been doing dream work for the last 10 years or so. And I actually started my school, Olympus Academia. Took a while to figure out a name. I was like, well, why not name it after the home of the gods? We're going to be doing magic there after all. And it actually has grown really quickly. I'm working really hard on making it a truly safe space. Oops, please don't. A truly safe space where people can come and learn their paths, because I was reading a book and it was talking about the houses of light in Egypt and how that's where like the mystics went to learn and study. They lived there, they studied, they had vast libraries with huge amounts of knowledge, and they were destroyed in the Crusades. And that was the last time in history where a mystic, a magician, a witch, wizard, whatever you want to call them, served openly next to the pharaoh with a respected position, without hate, without fear, well, there might have been a little bit of fear depending on what they did, but
yeah.
We don't have that anymore. Oops. You might have your like little shops with the psychics, the card readers, our events, but we don't see anyone openly serving in the office, like as president, as governor, as an advisor in any way, shape, or form in the U.S. And what?
That's not true.
Who?
There's one in Pennsylvania.
Oh, is it new? Are they new?
They're new. Yeah, they got
Yay!
voted in just in the past year, I think. In their last primaries. Yeah.
That's
so
fantastic.
there is an openly pagan. You know what? I can't even remember what position that she's in, but she was voted in. Yeah, in Pennsylvania.
That's fantastic. But I think I was more leaning to. Okay, please don't touch my. More towards like an official office specifically with the title for the use of magic.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buddy, mommies.
That would be nice to have. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have a full council and basically having the titles of director of magic, you name it. I mean, director of dark arts. So
you can even make a new sector and a lot of different things. And I think it scares a lot of people. There has been backlash because we're not going for any religious exemptions. We're not going for any license exemptions at all. We're going for a full-fledged university status. And what that means is it's gonna bring, once we obtain that, it's gonna bring oh wow kind of shock factor to not only the people in our community, but the people who think that we're like charmed or supernatural, or like once they see that there's an actually federally recognized school that checked off all the boxes, it's gonna be a moment of realization that we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're real.
Well, and believe.
Enjoy the performance by Alette for a second.
And well, believe it or not, I recently discovered that we have a school of Satanism here in Iowa.
That's really fascinating. Wow. So is it sort of like Olympus, where at the moment it's like a private career school status type of thing?
Yep.
Wow.
And I've been trying to reach out to them to get them on the show so I can learn more about them. But so far, they've not answered me. So, but
that's really there are schools, but none of them are accredited. They're still very valid. Their classes are valid. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. They may not be accredited, but some of the information is still valid. And really, there is a huge need to help educate people the differences between the large umbrella of paganism compared to Satanism and a lot of other fields. So
with shamanism, druidism, voodoo, all of it. And that's one thing that I want to do at Olympus is bring everything under one roof, and create a bastion of knowledge. And I'm hoping that over time, others will also do the same. Like, I don't want to be the only one. I'm not trying to corner a market here. I would love to be able to, like, maybe like the Gray School of Wizardry. They're fantastic. And now the school for what was it called again?
Well, basically, it's just the Iowa School on Satanism.
Yeah, so there's pockets of these places. They really tend to be focused on one path or another, and sometimes they do have a variety. But it'd be great if they see someone obtaining this, and then they'd be like, "Oh, we can do that too," because it'd be really easy for us to get a religious exemption right now.
Yeah,
extremely easy. But I'm not going that route, and I'm hoping that it creates like a boulder rolling down a hill effect. Once all those red tapes are crossed, because we're still discriminated against, we're still laughed at in society, we're still not taken seriously. Imagine the science aspects that could be discovered that are pushed away because they think it's magic. Like, there's so many possibilities, so many. And I think sometimes people are like, well, some have voiced to me that they're afraid that once we have an official university, that witches are going to need like contractor permits. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm not going for that.
Well, I could possibly see that happening.
I definitely think that when it comes to making things official to a certain level, to a certain legal level, inevitably what ends up happening is you got to kind of take the bad with the good in that scenario. So I think that it is left to be seen what sort of ripple effect Olympus becoming accredited has. And I'm under no illusion that like all of those ripple effects are going to be 100% positive. I'd like them to be, but I realize that they're probably not going to be, because just because of the revolutionary nature that Olympus getting accredited it really is.
People that are against paganism in general, because we are a very Christian nation. I see Leah commented she's going to be taking some courses. Yay!
Yeah.
We'll be happy to have you as a student, but there's going to probably be some protests and stuff like that. I already have some backlash coming in for me trying to get the eWeb building. Someone told me they're going to pray for me, and I'm like, great, cool. I'll take any prayers.
Oh, you should have seen the backlash that happened back in 2013. My good friend Deborah, who is a Wiccan high priestess, she gave the opening invocation to the state house here in Iowa for the opening session for government, and she did it very respectfully. But yet she had people turning their backs on her, and because there's a lot of diehard Christians that basically were all up in arms about it. But they also had other ministers from other religions coming in doing the same thing. So it's like either you be all inclusive or you don't do it, period.
Yeah.
And that interview sparked a huge national news media. Because it hit national news, it hit local news, and I had an interview with her afterwards. And the thing that really has still resonated within me is that during that interview, Selena Fox called in, and because I have the utmost respect for Selena. She is one of our elders in the community, and she is a wealth of knowledge. And it just, to this day, when I go back and listen to that interview, it still gets me emotional.
That's incredible. That's incredible. That's a piece of our history that I wasn't aware of. And that's incredible. I'm really happy to. Well, I'm not happy to hear it. You know, the sucks that there was backlash, but also
happy that she was able to present.
Yeah, well, and every piece of representation that we can have in those wider mainstream venues, for lack of a better word, coming to mind, the better, really, because the more that we are in the spotlight, the more normalized it becomes. And I think that's already happening, particularly in the last few years. I think that the level of interest in alternative spiritualities and paganism, et cetera, was already like picking up. I think it started.
Shock factor is wearing off.
Yeah, I think it started picking up in the 90s, and then it really was starting to gain momentum in the 2000s, and then by the 2010s it was just like screaming down a hill. And then I think the pandemic, that especially in the first year when everybody was kind of forced to stay home, it really exploded then as well. And so I think that the more we are in the spotlight, the more people discover these paths, the more people find like a sense of power that maybe they didn't feel before. And yeah, there's going to be backlash, but I think ultimately this is a really important and really good thing to have happen right now.
It's funny that you brought up COVID, because that's how it actually started. Was I was sitting at home and I was like, I don't want to go to the library. I can't go to the library, and I want more books though, but I don't want to buy anything on Amazon without being able to look it over. So I posted in the Witches of Eugene Facebook page, and I was like, does anybody want to have like a monthly meetup where you bring a book from your library for other people to check out? We'll have snacks, talking. And I got a lot of interest, and it turned into us learning from each other more. We hardly paid attention to the books. We ended up talking to each other, learning about each other's paths, and then we ended up doing like creating spell jars or besoms or besoms. A lot of people say it different ways. And then I was like sitting with the regular group was there. I was like, we're learning a lot from each other. Why don't we just start a school? And they're like, that's a great idea. And so we kind of threw around names and settled on Olympus after a couple months. And then I filed it with the state of Oregon. And then I was like, well, we have a school. We need a school store. And September of last year, I got the first store space. And everything has just been snowballing since then. We had so many courses. Like within 2 months of saying we should start a school, I had a website up and running with professors recording courses. And
okay, so basically, you do know that the idea that comes to mind is once we have the school built and up and going, and we start attracting shop owners to put up local shops around the area, we're going to have, I can see us having our own Diagon Alley.
Right. My heart did tell me that it's going to be a lot of hard work for a while, but I will get to rest, but there's still hard work even after I'm done. Like, it's going to keep growing. That's why I started looking like 2,000 to 5,000 acre ranches that are for sale. Because I'm like, what if people who are leaving from their families that are absolutely horrible? Like, my family stopped talking to me when I came out of the broom closet. They turned their backs on me. And a couple of them stuck around. One of them did change their mind. but I still can't go to family Christmas dinners. My kids are involved in that. So now my kids are affected. And what if there's people that come to the school when we have a campus? They're staying in the student housing, which there will be housing for families that are taking courses, because I know that was my struggle trying to go to a university, is the student housing. They don't really have anything for people with kids or families. So that will be there on our campus. And what if they don't want to go back home because there's not a safe place for them to go? So they're going to want to stay. So, you know, open up a shop, do something with the knowledge you just learned from our school. And I could see a town growing up around.
Oh yeah,
the campus.
I can already. Yeah, I've already got visions of that happening.
The University of Oregon in Eugene actually is so intertwined with the city because it literally helped form the city. People came for school and for plots, and it grew intertwined with the city.
Now, like I said, I've already got visions of that happening, and I can see it being a really good thing. But yeah, we're still going to have these backlash from there, but it's going to be a lot better because we're going to be there to add on to help educate the general population and to set a positive example of who we are as pagans and what we do.
Yeah. And that's why I'm calling the, if we get the eWeb building in Eugene, I'm calling it the Ambassador Campus, because it's not large enough to be the main campus. We can have some classes in there. We can have a market, cafeteria, but it'd really give a chance for the population of Eugene to get some exposure on a larger scale to the scary witches and stuff. We won't be so scary anymore. And Eugene itself is pretty accepting. So this is kind of a perfect place to start it.
Good. And I also want to say welcome to Patricia Padilla. Appreciate you being a part of this. And also meant to say hello to Leah, who is also chiming in as well. Appreciate you being a part of the show today with us.
I could talk forever about Olympus.
That's perfectly fine. I still remember the day when 2013 is when I moved. Let's see, or was it 20? Hold on a second. Nope. I take that back. 2016 is when I had moved back to my home area, which is a small farming community just outside of Des Moines, about 20 miles east of Des Moines. And I've counted them. We have 7 different churches in that small town of a population of 1,300. And basically, I opened up a shop, my office up on the square. And the local newspaper caught wind of me doing my internet radio and podcast. So I officially got outed by my local newspaper. I thought for sure I'd be hearing backlash up one side and down the other. But nothing happened.
That's cool. I bet you were like waiting for it. Oh God, I'm waiting for when we submit for the eWeb building officially. Like I announced we were doing it, but just the initial anxiety over it, because I was doing some research into the history of witchcraft and paganism in Eugene, and not much came up, but there was in 2001, can't really say 2001, that sounds weird. Something like, maybe it was 2010. No, it was longer than that. A Wiccan high priestess, I believe she was a high priestess, went and ministered in the jails and talked to a youth. It was for like the youth correctional facilities and stuff. I might be getting some details wrong because I don't have the article in front of me. And KEZI had a field day with it. They were not very nice to the pagan community here. And the only article I could find at this time, because it was so long ago, was the Wiccan community asking for an apology from KEZI. I never found an apology from them. So I'm like, oh man, it'd be a nice study to see the comparison of what type of story they're going to type out now compared to what they did then. Mm-hmm. Like, hopefully they're not harsh. But right now, after we're done, I can send you the link and everything to how people can help us get our campus. We have a petition up because we want to show them that we're here. They're not familiar with the market. Of course, everything has to be profitable.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So we have to show them that there is a market. Right now, we're close to 400 signatures on our petition to show them that we're here. We're not going anywhere. You can also message eWeb yourself, like directly, and say, I would really love to have a school for us here. And we also have a GoFundMe as well.
Excellent. Okay, now I know that Rebecca's got another meeting she's got to get to, so I definitely don't want to keep her. But Rebecca, it's been nice getting to know you, and I'm glad that you took time out to come join us this afternoon. And I really look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much for inviting me onto the show. I've had a lot of fun today, and I'm just really excited to move forward and get to know even more people in the community. It's going to be really exciting. And for anyone in Eugene, pop by Pagan Pride this Sunday. It's going to be a blast. And me, Rococo, and a bunch of other people from Olympus are going to be there as well.
Excellent. Yep. As I recently had both Dennis and his wife on my show. Well, actually, it was just Dennis. Basically, his wife was in the background handing him notes and telling him details that he was forgetting. Because Christine wasn't really comfortable on cam, but Dennis took over, and because it was kind of funny because she would hand him notes and, oh, I got another note. So we got to talking about Eugene Pagan Pride, and I'm really I'm excited that they're going to be doing this. And, there's going to be a lot of people there that I know. So I'm really looking forward to that. Kat is going to be there with you guys as well.
Yep. Oberon Zell is going to be there doing a presentation.
Excellent. Yep, because I recommended they get in contact with Oberon and see if he's going to be able to fit it into his schedule.
So I'm excited for it.
Excellent. All right, Rebecca, I'm going to let you go for right now there, dear. Let you get to your next meeting. And like I said, it's a pleasure getting to know you.
It was a pleasure getting to know you as well. Blessed be.
Bye.
Blessed be. Have a good day there, Rebecca. All right, now then, with everything is, like I said, I'm going through a kind of like well, I'm changing things up here at IAPN Radio with a new look, new logos, and bringing Rococo on, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to add to the team here at IAPN Radio. And with the new formation of the National Pagan Podcast Network, it's going to entail me to develop other news radio things, just like IAPN Radio. I'll be able to establish other ones in different areas. So, for instance, me coming out to Eugene to be a part of the school and take part in the local community, I'll be able to build up a Eugene Pagan News out there as well. So that's all going to be underneath the new National Pagan Podcast Network, which is going to be national and international visibility for what we're doing right here.
And that's going to be fantastic. Bringing the community together, creating like a network of connections throughout the nation.
Yeah, because when I first started this, when I came into the community back in 2003, I came into an area that a huge rift had been formed between two people that were on power trips. And it caused a huge division to the point where friendships were affected. And I had people telling me flat out I had to choose sides. And I'm like, oh, hell no. That's not happening with me. Mm-mm. And it was from that point on when I decided that I was going to do everything I possibly can to bring people together and unite the community. So that is, and the main goal, the main thing here at IAPN Radio is building community with unity, and that is going to be incorporated into whatever else happens in the future.
That sounds fantastic.
And I'm really happy to have you on board here, Rococo, and anybody else that we decide to bring on board with us. The better it's going to be.
Absolutely.
All right. So, with that being said, I want to wish everyone pleasant journeys, and hope you have a great rest of your day and a good weekend coming up. Now, tomorrow, we've got an interview. Let's see. I'm going to get that information up here real quick. Give me just a brief second here. Let me get into where I need to be. We've got a interview coming up tomorrow with another good friend of mine, and let's see, that is, here we go. Rhonda Marie Woodyard from Solitary Coventry. That's going to be tomorrow at 5. She is formerly known as Wiccan Ministries, but now is known as Solitary Coventry, and she is building a strong foundation in Wicca and witchcraft. So I'm anxious to have her be a part of everything that we're doing here, and we're just going to have a good time getting to know her tomorrow as well.
Sounds fantastic.
All right. So let's see. If you'd like to help support what we're doing here at IAPN Radio and the new national network, feel free to make donations. You can donate directly to IAPN Radio at the following areas and Cash App, through PayPal and Venmo. That way you can help us to keep the lights on, keep up the programming, keep up our subscriptions everywhere. Because putting on podcasts and internet radio, it costs us money to do this. And fortunately, a lot of it is out of pocket that I have been able to cover for the majority of the 10 years I've been doing this. But it does help to have regular donations coming in. And the same way is going to be with the Olympus, because we will gladly accept donations. And that can be in the form of either financial or even supplies. Because that's going to be another big area that Olympus is going to be needing, is a bunch of supplies. So that's where you can come in and be able to be a great assistant. Anything else that you want to add there, Rococo?
I think I covered a lot, but yeah, absolutely, the supplies would be fantastic because students are going to need notebooks and I mean, we're going to need to be able to furnish a campus eventually. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, whatever forms that people like to help donate to both Olympus and then also IAPN Radio is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, on behalf of Rococo and myself, I want to wish everyone pleasant journeys. We will see everyone again tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central, and whatever other time frames that everyone else is in. Have a great night, and we are going to be out of here for the day.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I'm scared.